Order at 7:32 p.m. Wendy, can you please read the meeting announcement?
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Sparta Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be advertised by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the Sparta Board of Education office, 18 Mohawk Avenue, as designated by the Board of Education for posting of such notice in a public place. Written notice was emailed on January 11th, 2022 to the New Jersey Herald, the Star Ledger, tapintosparta.net, and to the Township Clerk specifying the date, time, and place of this meeting.
Thank you, Wendy. Roll call, please, Mr. Smith.
Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here. Can everybody please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice. For all.
You must be up, Lauren.
Before we move on here, we'd like to, as a board, have a moment of silence to recognize the tragedy that happened in Texas a couple days ago, so please join us. Thank you. Before we move on to section 1.5, just a few housekeeping items. First of all, I want to thank everybody for your attendance here in person and virtually. We will only be entering into one closed session this evening, and that will be the second closed session later in the evening. Unfortunately, as you can see, Dr. Beck was feeling under the weather today and is unable to attend tonight's meeting. And since we have two members that were unable to make tonight's meeting, we will be postponing the annual ethics presentation that shows on the agenda. Under the presentation section, we'll postpone that to the June meeting. Right. Mr. Zittimer, we'll move on to section 1.5 and induction of Ms. Miller. Yes. Ms. Miller, can you please come on up?
Okay, good evening, Ms. Miller. Congratulations. Will you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I state your name.
I, Jennifer Miller.
Is that working? There we go. Start one more time. I state your name.
I, Jennifer Miller,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and
to
allegiance
the same
to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I state your name.
I, Jennifer Miller,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I possess the qualifications
that I possess the qualifications
prescribed by law
prescribed by law
for the office
for the office
of member of a Board of Education,
for member of a Board of Education,
and that I am not disqualified as a voter
and that I am not disqualified as a voter
pursuant to
pursuant to
RS
RS
19:4-1,
19:4-1,
nor disqualified
due to conviction of a crime
or an offense listed in NJSA
NJSA
18A:12-1,
18A:12-1,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all the duties
and justly perform all the
of
duties
that office
of that office
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Ms. Miller, and welcome. Next, we're going to move on to the student representatives report. Do we have a report tonight? Are you gonna give a report first? Okay, perfect. Because then I will call you guys up.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Bomahanam. I'm the executive president of student government. And me and my fellow student government members are just going to introduce ourselves, and then we're also going to introduce the new executive board for next year. I just wanted to say thank you for all the collaboration and help throughout the past 4 years. And also I want to thank our dedicated student council advisors, Ms. DeLucia and Mrs. D'Amelio. Here's Nick Wang.
Hi, I'm Nick Wang, the Executive Vice President for this year. Again, I'd like to thank you guys for your collaboration and your support in helping us, and Ms. DeLucia, Ms. D'Amelio, all the class advisors for also playing a part in supporting us.
Hi, I'm Sarah Caruso. I'm the executive secretary for this year. I just want to say thank you guys, and yeah, that's it.
Good evening. I'm Christopher Burns. I'm the executive historian, and I just want to thank you guys for giving us the opportunity to hear students and all our opinions and what's been going on really through our daily lives throughout this past year. So I just want to thank you for that opportunity.
Hi, my name is Joe Burns. I'm the executive treasurer. I just want to say thank you again for all the work, and it's been a great year. So before we introduce the new executive members, I just want to recap what's going on right now at Sparta High School. So on June 3rd, we're going to be having a Safe Stock event. That's where the club Find the Courage is basically running this big event where there's going to be games and stuff. And it's basically just a fundraiser, and it's going to be just a whole fun day for the members of the school. And then on June 9th, the senior class has their prom at Perona Farms. And yeah, after prom, it's pretty much wrapping up the year. Thank you. And here are the new executive members for the next year.
Hi, my name is Chad Wood, and I am the up-and-coming executive president for the student council body, and I'm really excited to have a very productive year with you guys. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jack Hill. I'm the executive treasurer, and I can't wait to have a great 2022-2023 school year with you guys.
Hi, my name's Ramy Coleman, and I'll be the executive secretary of next year. I'm excited to be working with you as well.
Guys, thank you. Don't go anywhere just yet. On behalf of the board and our administration, to Matthew, Nick, Sarah, Joe, and Chris, thank you guys for all the additional work that you all put in. We truly enjoyed your monthly updates, and you guys did a fabulous job representing your class. So thank you all for doing that. To the incoming class representatives, good luck. And we really look forward to working with all of you, and congratulations. Thank you all. Moving on to Section 7, approval of minutes. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Vanessa, thank you. Second? Second, Kim. You got to hit your red button there. Kim, thank you. Discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Smith.
Ms. Bragg,
Yes.
Ms. Collier,
Yes.
Mr. McKiernan,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Abstain.
Mr. Morris is not here, Ms. Sealander,
Yes.
Dr. Serrano,
Yes.
Mr. Parsha.
Yes. All right, I'm going to, in Dr. Beck's absence, I'm going to turn the superintendent's report over to Ms. Rossi.
Sure, thank you. With Dr. Beck not being able to make it tonight due to illness, I will read the superintendent's report. It was written by him, and I'll be reading it from his first-person perspective. I would like to begin by welcoming Ms. Miller to the Board of Education. Mr. Smith and I met with Ms. Miller soon after her selection to the board, and I am confident that she's a great addition to the board and will help move our district forward. So welcome. An update on CUSAC. Yesterday, our district underwent the New Jersey Quality Single Accountability Continuum Monitoring, also known as CUSAC. This monitoring is performed by the Sussex County Department of Education as an extension of the New Jersey State Department of Education. Under this monitoring, districts are assessed for their compliance within 5 indicators of fiscal, instruction and program, governance, personnel, and operations. The monitoring went smoothly, and we hope to have the results in the near future. Middle school production of the Descendants. Earlier this month, our talented Sparta Middle School theater students put on a production of The Descendants. Our students' enormous talent was on full display during this production, and I look forward to seeing the students perform in years to come at the middle and high school levels of our very successful theater program. Little update on our job fair. On Saturday, May 14th, our district initiated the return of the Sparta Job Fair. Supervisors, building administrators, and central office administrators all staffed their own table and interviewed candidates for the open teaching and support staff positions that are currently available in our district. In all, we had approximately 60 candidates sign up to interview during the job fair. It was great to see such a large interest for candidates to join our district, and I appreciate the administrators and administrative assistants that came out for this great event. The SEF Dragon boat races took place this past Sunday. I had the pleasure of attending the return of the great tradition that is the Sparta Education Foundation's Dragon Boat Race. This event is a great Sparta community tradition, and I would like to thank many volunteers, sponsors, paddlers, and of course the Sparta Ed Foundation for their continued support. A special shout out to the SHS class of 2022 valedictorian, Kavya Kamath, who joined me during the opening ceremony to dot the eye of the dragon, a dragon boat race tradition that brings luck to the paddlers. We had our SHS Top 10 dinner celebration last week. Along with SHS administration and secondary supervisors, I had the honor of attending this event. The night consisted of a nice dinner at the Lafayette House and teachers honoring students as well as students honoring teachers. I would once again like to wish congratulations to all of our top 10 honorees, their selected teachers, and their parents for earning this great honor. In the world of athletics, we begin to wind down the spring sports season, and there have been many milestones reached by our stellar Sparta High School athletes. Here are a few of note. In girls lacrosse, Leah Moore earned 100 career points. Uma Kowalski also earned 100 ground ball controls and 100 points. Kat Cohen with 200 saves. Ann Byrne, 100 career points and 100 draw controls. And Nora Monahan with 100 draw controls. In girls track and field, Bryn McCurry set a school record in the javelin that has stood since 1988. In the boys tennis arena, Tom Scotland won first singles at HWS, and Adam Stefancic took second place in third singles at HWS tennis. In softball, Mackenzie Masternak had 200 strikeouts. And in boys lacrosse, Joe Bono had 300 career saves, Adam Wood had 100 career points, Ryan Rossi had 100 career points, and Chase Gear had 100 ground balls in the season. I would like to turn this over to Mrs. Rossi for her assistant superintendent message. So first, a quick update on curriculum development for the health and PE standards. I know there's a lot of questions and concerns around, these new standards that will be implemented in 2022. So I want to share as much information as they're being developed so you have it. Mostly all grade levels at this point have completed, or have begun, work with their curriculum writing teams. Many of the grade levels are in their final review stages. I've had the pleasure to sit with all of the teams and review goals, plans, and support the interpretation of these standards. It's so far been a positive experience, and I want to also thank several parents and community members who've reached out by phone with questions, support, and suggestions. That collaboration is helpful and important. On June 23rd, we will host an in-person parent night. It will be before the June board meeting. It will take place at 6 p.m. here in the auditorium, and we'll send out a community blast. In this session, I'll have a chance to review information, share specific details regarding those plans, and also it will be a great time for additional feedback and information from the parent and community perspective before having the board make that approval in the summer. This will also be, all of these district documents will be available on the website once it's board approved, after community feedback, and before school begins. We have an Always Jane screening coming up. On Saturday, June 11th, there will be a community screening of episode 1 of Always Jane. This event will be held at Sparta Middle School from 6:30 to 8:30. Always Jane is a limited Amazon picture docuseries that chronicles the story of our very own community member, Jane Norrie, and her family as she navigates life as a transgender teenager. It's the story of resilience and acceptance. After the screening, members of the Norrie family and the Amazon production team will participate in a panel discussion about their experiences. This event will provide an opportunity to demonstrate support for LGBTQ youths who experience increased risk factors, including social stigmas. This is one way we can model inclusivity and acceptance for all students, and is a great opportunity to acknowledge Pride Month. Finally, the highlight of my month was meeting with student officers from grades 9 through 12, along with our SHS valedictorian, to gain understanding and insight on the high school climate and culture, as well as needs and perspectives that they share. This included topics that range from diversity and inclusion to mental health and academic rigor. Our young adults have something to say. They are articulate, intelligent, and deeply considerate. They want to be included, informed, and have their voices heard. This will continue to be a top priority, and I am impressed by their maturity, kindness, and commitment to their school community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rossi. Moving on to section 11, the HIB report. Can I have a motion to move 11.1, please?
Motion.
Lauren, thank you. Second?
Second.
Wendy, thank you. Discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Smith.
Ms. Bragg?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Mr. McCurran? Yes. Ms. Miller?
Abstain.
Ms. Seelander?
Yes.
Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mr. Palacio?
Yes. Moving on to section 13, do we have any delegate liaison reports this month?
I have one.
Okay, Ms. Bragg, thank you.
I just wanted to give a quick update on the Town Council Delegate and Shared Services Committee. The path between Station Park and the high school is almost done. Wendy, you showed me some nice pictures from there yesterday, or whenever I saw you last. The path is paved, the wires are in the ground, and we're just waiting for the lights to come in. They should be in within the next couple of weeks. And then once the lights are delivered, they will be installed. So we're hoping, by mid-June, this project will be complete. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
And as just reporting out from the Diversity Council as well as C3, C3 wrapped up their months of meeting with Mental Health Awareness Month and is already planning for next year. So if anybody would like to take part in their health and wellness initiatives for next year, that's a way to get involved. But Align has been doing some great things all year to support our students, as you're aware of. And as Ms. Rossi mentioned, the Diversity Council is quickly finishing up preparations for the Always Jane screening, so you're invited to sign up. There is a QR code on some of the signs, so they encourage early registration. There will be a pre-event with a DJ and snacks and information, and as well as the screening following that. And if you would like to volunteer, they're looking for people to help as well. The Diversity Council is also planning next year's book club inclusions to also think about different audiences for each month. So for instance, maybe having a children's book that could be read for, say, Hispanic Heritage Month, to increase just participation in the community and looking at different voices in the community. So I encourage you to check out those resources.
Thank you, Lauren. Good. Okay, moving on to public comment number 1. Kim, do you mind reading the public comment information, please?
Sure. Public comments are invited on matters pertaining only to action items at this time. Please state the action item number as well as your name, municipality, and group affiliation, if appropriate, for the record. Each participant will receive 3 minutes to speak. There will be a countdown timer. You will be notified when there is 1 minute remaining, and then again when the time is up at the end of 3 minutes. Speakers may not cede their time to others. The board uses the public comment period as an opportunity to listen to citizen concerns, but not all issues brought to a board meeting will be resolved this evening. Rather, the board will, in appropriate cases, delegate the authority to investigate the matter to the superintendent or his designee. The board does not endorse your comments, nor will the board be held liable for comments you make about a staff member or other person which they may consider defamatory and/or slanderous, as that individual retains all rights to pursue any legal remedies against you. This public session is designed for members of the public to speak on issues for board consideration. By law, the Board of Education is under no obligation to respond to public comment. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board at the conclusion of public participation. This portion of the meeting is meant to hear public comment, not to have a dialogue between the board and the person speaking. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking, and not disrupt the meeting, or you may be asked to leave. All statements should be directed to Mr. Pleshy as the presiding officer, and no one may address the board members individually. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Tina Johnson.
Hi,
I
Tina.
live at 164 East Central Avenue in Wharton, New Jersey, but I'm a Sparta high school teacher.
Tina, Tina, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
Do you mind just telling us which action item you're going to be discussing?
A revision to renewal 15.8.
Thank you.
Thank you. Regarding Mr. Scott Kircher, History, World Language, and ESL Supervisor. In late January of 2020, I was a chaperone on the Model UN trip along with Mr. Kircher, Mr. DeCrescenzi, and Mrs. Hobby Pazensky.
I'm sorry, Ms. Johnson, Tina.
That's okay.
I don't believe, yeah, that's not an action
Do I have
item
the wrong
for
number?
this one. That may fall under public comment number 2,
Okay.
if you don't
So I'll
mind.
just sign back in after.
Yeah,
No
yep.
problem.
Thank you
Sorry.
very much. Sorry to interrupt you, but thank you. Anyone else for public comment number 1? Okay. Can I have a motion to close public comment number 1, please?
Motion.
Vanessa, thank you. Second?
Second.
Lauren, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, moving on to section 15, personnel and policy. Can I have a motion to move 15.1 through 15.33?
Motion.
Lauren, thank you. Second?
Second.
Vanessa, thank you. Discussion?
I have a discussion item, Mr. Pleshy. It is a recommendation of the Personnel Committee to table items 15.22 and 15.6 until next month. I just need a second.
So Kim, that was the motion. Can I have a second, please?
Does that include 15.5?
15.22
Yeah,
and
was it 15.22 and what?
15.6 and 15.22.
Oh. I'll second the
No,
motion.
no, it was not. Let me just unstaple this. No, it was 15.6 and 15.22 and 15.6.
Second, please, Lauren, did you second that?
Yes,
I don't know
second.
what the second item is, though. What's the second item?
2, 2, and
2 and 6.
2, 2, and 6.
okay. Roll call, please, Mr. Smith.
Ms. Bragg?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Mr. McKiernan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller? Mr. Miller?
Abstain.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Ms. Sealander?
Was there a chance to discuss that at all? I just want to know what the reasoning is behind.
Sure.
There's
wait, did
technically no discussion on a motion to table.
Okay.
Wendy, we're just tabling it till next month.
So we have to go right to the roll call.
Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mr. Palashi?
Yes to 15.22, no to 15.6.
You just need to read my name again, Ron. I didn't get a chance to answer.
Oops, sorry.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah.
She didn't vote yet.
Just, you got to say my name again. Let me vote.
Excuse me?
Just call my.
Wendy didn't vote.
Okay, yeah, but
I asked a
she's not-
question, then I didn't vote. We went
you're
right to
not voting, or
Vanessa.
you want to-
No, you need to just say her name again.
Oh, Ms. Sealander?
Sorry, now I've lost my train of thought. You want to table those? I vote yes to 15.22 and no to 15.6.
Okay.
I did.
Good.
We're good.
Mr. Smith, could you just tell us
It
what the
appears
vote tally
that it's
was,
tabled.
please?
It appears that it's tabled. You only had 2 noes to table
So
it,
it's 5-2.
right?
So what was the vote?
I believe you only have 2 noes to table it for 22. You got a no on 6 and a no on 22. Otherwise, I think everything else was.
No, it was,
No,
it was 2 noes on 6.
I-
All yeses on 22.
I believe it was 4-2 and 1 abstention for
Yeah,
each.
please, let's just so there's no ambiguity, can you just do a do-over, please, on the motion to table both of those items?
This is the table 15.6 and 15.2.
Correct.
2-2.
Ms. Bragg?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Mr. McKiernan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Abstain.
Ms. Sealander?
Yes to 15.22, no to 15.6.
Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mr. Palashi?
No to 15.6, yes to 15.22.
You got 2 noes and all the rest is, so it carried.
Yeah, both of those carried, okay.
Okay. Okay, so can I now have a motion to move 15.1 through 15.5 and 15.7 through 15.33?
Motion.
Lauren, thank you. Second?
Second.
Patrick, thank you. Discussion?
Mr. Palashi,
Yes.
I just want to quickly address this meeting tonight. I am honored, and what a privilege it is to be sitting on the board of this wonderful community. As I have only been inducted this evening, I will respectfully be abstaining from voting on agenda items this evening.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Miller.
Thank you.
Roll call, please, Mr. Smith?
Ms. Bragg?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Mr. McKiernan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Abstain.
Ms. Sealander?
Yes.
Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mr. Palashi?
Yes. Moving on to section 16, curriculum instruction and special services. Can I have a motion to move 16.1 through 16.15, please?
Motion.
Motion, Lauren, thank you. Second?
Second.
Vanessa, thank you. Discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Smith?
Ms. Bragg?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Mr. McKiernan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Abstain?
Ms. Sealander?
Yes.
Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mr. Pelleggi?
Yes. Moving on to section 17, finance. Can I have a motion to move 17.1 through 17.26, please?
Motion.
Patrick, thank you. Second?
Second.
Lauren, thank you. Discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Smith?
Ms. Bragg?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Mr. McKiernan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Abstain?
Ms. Sealander?
Yes.
Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mr. Pelleggi?
Yes. Moving on to section 18, operations. Can I have a motion to move 18.1 through 18.18, please?
Motion.
Was that Vanessa? Was that you? Sorry. Second, please.
Second.
Wendy, thank you. Discussion? Roll call, please, Mr.
Ms.
Smith?
Bragg?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Mr. McKiernan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Abstain?
Ms. Sealander?
Yes.
Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mr. Pelleggi?
Yes. Moving on to section 19, renewals. Can I have a motion to move 19.1 through 19.52, please?
Motion.
Patrick, thank you. Second?
Second.
Lauren, thank you. Discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Smith?
Ms. Bragg?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Mr. McKiernan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Abstain?
Ms. Sealander?
Yes.
Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mr. Pelleggi?
Yes to everything except for 19.42, which I abstained just due to my wife being associated with SEF.
Okay.
Okay. Section 20, moving on to section 20, do we have any old business? Nope. Section 21, any new business? I would like to make a motion under new business for all future meetings, for us to start our meetings at 7 PM as opposed to 7:30. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Wendy, thank you. Discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Smith?
Craig,
Bragg?
real quick, is there a
Sorry.
possibility for just for the next month that we might consider, just because of the curriculum review? That's my only concern, is if we're starting that at 6, to allow parents enough time to hear Ms.
Thought you
Rossi's
said 7.
presentation. Right, but the parent curriculum review for the new state health standards will be at 6, so that would only give an hour versus an hour and a half.
Yeah, what we can do is,
I
we can
support it.
move all of the future meetings starting in June, and then we will just put our public notice out stating that that's gonna start at 7:30. We'll put a meeting notice out stating that it will start at 7:30.
Okay, great.
So, yes, we can do that if it gives.
So that's for the June meeting you're referring to? So maybe the resolution, we could just amend to say, starting in July.
July, you wanna do
right?
that? We can do
Because
that.
currently it's 7:30 for that meeting, correct, Lauren?
Correct.
Yeah, so why don't we just say starting in July?
Starting in
just
July,
so we
then.
don't have to re-advertise
Okay,
again. Yeah.
that's fine.
that
Okay,
okay?
so we'll start at 7:30, that's good. Yep, that's fine. Okay, so roll call, please, Mr. Smith.
Ms. Bragg?
Yes.
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Mr. McKiernan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Sealander? Yes. Dr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mr. Pelleggi?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, moving on to public comment number 2. Kim, do you mind reading the public comment number 2 information, please?
Sure. The board uses the second public comment period to invite comments on all matters pertaining to the school district. Please state your name, municipality, and group affiliation, if appropriate, for the record. Each participant will receive 3 minutes to speak. There will be a countdown timer. You'll be notified when there is 1 minute remaining, and then again when the time is up at the end of 3 minutes. Speakers may not cede their time to others. The board uses the public comment period as an opportunity to listen to citizen concerns, but not all issues brought to a board meeting will be resolved this evening. Rather, the board will, in appropriate cases, delegate the authority to investigate the matter to the superintendent or his designee. The board does not endorse your comments, nor will the board be held liable for comments you make about a staff member or other person which they may consider defamatory and/or slanderous, as that individual retains all rights to pursue any legal remedies against you. This public session is designed for members of the public to speak on issues for board consideration. By law, the Board of Education is under no obligation to respond to public comment. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board at the conclusion of public participation. This portion of the meeting is meant to hear public comment, not to have a dialogue between the board and the person speaking. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking and not disrupt the meeting, or you may be asked to leave. All statements should be directed to Mr. Pelesci as the presiding officer, and no one may address the board members individually. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Hi, Tina Johnson again.
Welcome back.
Okay, 164 East Central Avenue, Wharton, New Jersey.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
I'm speaking on the revision to Renewal 15.8 regarding Mr. Scott Kircher. In late January of 2020, I was a chaperone on the Model UN trip, along with Mr. Kircher, Mr. DeCrescenzi, and Mrs. Hobby Pazensky. On the night of the annual Model UN dance, we had a dinner at a small sandwich shop directly across from the dance venue in the hotel. We picked this location so that we would be in close proximity to the dance and our students. As per Model UN protocol, only Model UN staff are allowed to be present and chaperone the dance. School chaperones are not permitted to attend. After we grabbed dinner, Mr. Kircher mentioned he was going to check on the kids at the dance, and Mrs. Hobby Pazensky and I headed to the elevator to our floor. We knew we had snacks and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to make for our students upon their arrival back. When we walked out of the elevator, we saw one Sparta student in the hallway. As we started to ask why he was upstairs, he quickly said that the dance was overcrowded and there was a situation with a few students. Mr. DeCrescenzi and Mr. Kircher arrived on the floor within a couple of minutes, and at that point, Mr. Kircher began to assess the situation appropriately. All chaperones sat with the students to hear about this dance situation. Some female students on the trip said that the dance floor was crowded, and they expressed their concerns about their treatment at the dance. Mr. Kircher acted quickly, contacting Harvard administration, medical staff, and administrators at Sparta, including Dr. Rossi, Mr. Spring, and Mr. McQueenie. Contact was made with Mr. McQueenie that night, followed by Dr. Rossi, advising Mr. Kircher on handling the situation appropriately. All protocols were followed in the line of communication, putting students' needs and health first. Mr. Kircher and Mrs. Hobby Pazensky were present for all student interviews with Model UN administrators to assess the situation. Mr. DeCrescenzi and I were monitoring the rest of the group, chatting about their delegations at Model UN and making small talk. After all of the interviews were completed, we checked on each student and got them into their rooms to rest. At no point were students told not to call parents or guardians. Students were told not to post on social media because of privacy issues. The next morning, Sparta students attended their delegations and presented to their groups at Model UN. We got on the bus and headed to the high school. Upon arriving back, multiple administrators and staff were present to greet and follow up with students, parents, guardians, and staff. The departure was smooth. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
You can move that down.
Can we move it down? Okay. Good evening. My name is Sue Lorenz, and I live at 32 Water's Edge in Sparta, New Jersey. I'm also employed as the school psychologist at the high school, and I'm one of the Align Wellness Program clinicians. I'm
Good
also
evening.
speaking. Excuse me?
Sorry, I said good evening.
Oh, good evening. I'm also speaking tonight on the revision 15.8 for renewal. In reference to the January 2020 Model UN trip, several staff administrators and members were present at the return of our students and chaperones, including myself. We were there to greet and follow up with the parents, the students, and staff, and to provide any additional support upon their return should it be necessary. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
For me, the microphone has to go much lower. Esteemed Board of Education, it's been 35 years since I've come to a Board of Education meeting. But the reason why I am here, my name is...
Thank you.
My name is Mary Ann Francisco. I am the president of the Sparta Historical Society. You may know it as the Van Kirk Homestead Museum. The reason why I'm here is that we had an education meeting held May 15th, at that point we learned of the board's decision regarding Mr. Scott Kircher. To let you know a little bit about us, our mission is to preserve our local arts, history, and natural sciences, and to preserve their wonder to the community through diverse museum exhibits and educational programs. I looked up your mission, and it is to create a learning environment that will provide every child to achieve a curriculum standards. So in a way, we are kindred spirits. Our past experience of the museum, we opened in September 2014 as a new museum. So we had a lot to learn. But by 2016, we were ready to contact the school to say, here we are. We would love to help both of us as a community and for our own children so they could have a lot of fun learning different things through our museum. So we contacted the school board, and they referred us to, at that time, the social studies curriculum manager, supervisor, and very courteous, very lovely. But the purpose for me to be here is to let you know that a man's or a woman can make a big difference. And that happened with our own experience. 1 minute? Yes. That happened with our own experience. From 2017 to 2019, with the introduction of going to Mr. Kircher as a new curriculum supervisor, he has put in, and I don't know if any of you are aware of this, we now have the 6th grade walking over to do their curriculum on colonial farming and colonial kitchen cooking, okay? We then went to say, okay, we've done that. If we did a great job, what else can we do? You then had, in 2019 and 20, the Giving Tree with the 4th grade, that whole program, which I'm so pleased to know that it's now every 2 years that's going to be done. We were partnering with you and the whole curriculum and the school in having the New Jersey history, the Sparta history, and because we have a New Jersey heritage tree, it was so perfect that they can look and have the actual tree be part of their curriculum. And also, since we do have a heritage tree, I contacted the New Jersey Forestry, and they were so enthralled that they gave us, which I'm not sure if you're aware,
That's time, ma'am. Thank you.
Seedling. So I thank you. A difference that a man can make in just enthusiasm and dedication. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Francisco.
Hi, Jennifer Grana, 22 Longview Road.
Yeah, Ms. Grana.
Hi. I recently submitted an OPA request regarding the Model UN trip that was discussed at last month's meeting. I've since passed that response on to you all. It asked for communications between Dr. Rossi, Ronnie Spring, Scott Kircher, and the other chaperones on the trip from November 2019 to May 2020, and I just want to highlight some of the main takeaways for me. One email was sent by Ronnie Spring to Dr. Rossi outlining all of the occurrences at the Model UN Delegate Dance on February 1st. Everything was captured very comprehensively by Mr. Spring with the help of Mr. Kircher, and the events that occurred were all addressed quite appropriately. The students were attended to both for physical injury and emotional support until almost 2 a.m. that night. The chaperones were with those students the entire time, and all the school policies seemed to be followed. The next email was sent by Dr. Rossi to the full board recommending that Sparta no longer attend this trip annually and includes that same summary email from Mr. Spring. You can clearly see that Kim Bragg and Kurt Morris were included in the email as board members at the time, which means they were both well aware of the situation 2 years ago. And hearing the account of that night last month could not have been new information to them. Both also voted to support Mr. Kircher's renewal 3 months later that year, April of 2020, and again in April of 2021, by the way. This final email also indicates to me that no parents of any students on the trip wrote to Dr. Rossi, Mr. Spring, or any of the chaperones with complaints or expressing disappointment on how the incident was handled. I also have a copy of an email that outlines the details of the delegate dance specifically for the chaperones, indicating that the venue planned to provide 30 Harvard security staff members dedicated just to the dance, and the hotel provided additional security for outside the dance. As a chaperone, if I was reading this, I would feel pretty secure about that. Despite that, according to other chaperones who spoke last month and tonight, the Sparta chaperones did not leave the vicinity of the dance. According to our board policy 0164, conduct of a board meeting, items of business may be suggested by any board member, staff member, or citizen of the district. The inclusion of such items shall be at the discretion of the superintendent or the board. I'm hoping that a motion can still be made by a board member and seconded to include Mr. Kircher's name in the renewals in light of recent information considered since the previous meeting's revelation. From my past experience, it's my understanding that any board member can make a motion to call for a vote on an item. In fact, I learned that from Mr. Zittimer. I truly hope this past month, along with considering this clarifying information, the board members have also heavily weighed Mr. Kircher's contributions to our school district. What happened to our Sparta students at that Model UN event back in 2020 was terrible, but it was not Scott Kircher that made it happen, and there was nothing that he or the other chaperones could have done to prevent it. In fact, I would argue that he and his colleagues did literally everything they could to support those students in light of those circumstances. And tonight you have a second chance to acknowledge how valuable Mr. Kircher and his ongoing work really are to our school district at literally every level, K through 12. You have an opportunity to do something about it tonight. I hope you recognize that, and in the interest of all the students, staff, and parents in the school community, I really hope you take advantage of it.
Thank you, Ms. Graham. Anyone else for public comment number 2?
Hello.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. My name is Angie Hawthorne. I'm from Sparta.
Hi, Ms. Hawthorne.
I want to speak on Mr. Kircher. I did last time, but I'm not going to, only because I have something else to talk about that I feel is also important. We had a shelter-in-place drill at Helen Morgan a few weeks ago, and I'm sure it was handled very well. However, communication was not. I found out as police were speeding by the bus stop with my daughter that there was an emergency somewhere. Later in the day, I opened up my phone and saw that there were messages on Facebook about police at our school. My husband made a joke, not a joke, but he was concerned. He was like, wow, are those police going to the school? Because we're still waiting for the buses for Alpine. And I said, no, we'd get a message. It's fine, it's probably just an accident. There's always an accident, right? Hours later, I'm in Orange working, and my mind is panicking because there's police still at the school. I'm thinking I was at the bus stop at 8:45, and now hours later, I haven't heard from the school, and there's police presence still. There must be something really bad happening. So I called my husband. He didn't want to wait for communication, so he went to the school, which I know, as an educator, we are not supposed to go to the school. That's supposed to be a safe zone in case there is something. But without communication, there was nothing we could do to know if our child was safe, and there was fear in us. Everything that happened yesterday, it feels like yesterday. I couldn't not say something today, because if something happens like that again, where there's not even anything happening, my fears are going to overtake what I'm doing.
1 minute.
I need the school to have communication with us that just says there was possibly something, everything's under control. kids are safe. We'll update you soon. Even that, I would have been like, okay, they got it under control. To find out later that it was nothing and we didn't hear anything and it was just police presence and kids texting. My son doesn't have a phone. I don't know what's happening. I don't want to know from Facebook. I don't want to know from other moms. I want to know from our school that our kids are safe. And so I'm asking if we can relook at those policies and how communication happens and when they happen, so that we as parents have a peace of mind, since these things do happen every week, everywhere. Sparta's not going to be an anomaly, right? Like, these things are happening. So we need to know that if there's a shelter in place because something might have happened, that everything's okay or not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hawthorne.
Hi, my name is Judy Rulis, and I live at 237 Alpine Trail in Sparta.
Ma'am, can you just repeat your last name? I'm sorry.
Rulis.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Rulis.
I'm going to start with an email that I've actually sent all of you. I hope you read it, but I have not received a response that I feel is adequate, so I'm going to read it again in hopes that I've received some responses. I sent this email last Thursday, May 19th. As I'm sure you are aware, last Friday, a video was taken in the Sparta High School cafeteria of a high school student using a district computer to create what has been referred to by students as an effable list. This list was color-coded, a ranking system of the freshman girls. The list was created by a freshman boy on his school computer on school grounds. The sheet was shared with another student and potentially others. A video was also taken on Friday of this list and circulated around the entire school over the weekend and throughout Monday. I'm wondering when the school will be sending an email out like the ones they sent below, reminding parents they should be speaking to their children about respecting their peers and the dangers of sexual harassment. I'm confused and concerned as to why the school felt sending an email out to respect school property, a toilet, was more important than sending an email out to parents about the dangers of sexual harassment. To date, the only communication that has been sent out to parents was to the 50+ parents whose daughters were on the list. The communication did not address the incident, only listed resources the girls or parents could reach out to if they felt they needed support. How is our district going to stop this type of behavior, sexual harassment, going forward if they aren't even acknowledging it happened? This is not the only incident of sexual harassment that has happened within this month. I'm sure I don't need to go into detail about what happened at the Descendants performance. Again, no communication to district parents about the dangers of bullying and sexual harassment. Outside of offering services to the girls who felt they were violated, what is our district doing to stop this behavior going forward? My daughter has been out of school since Monday afternoon because she is humiliated by this list.
1 minute.
She has spent a good portion of the last few days crying, and she's mentally struggling. She's not going to contact the school because she does not feel safe. What are we going to do to be proactive so this type of behavior stops? So people aren't saying in 20 years this type of list has been circulating when I was in school. Everything that has been done by the administration in the high school was reactive. Nothing is being done that is proactive. Does our district have a policy that we're going to follow and enforce? Or are we just going to continue to let it happen and then punish kids when this type of stuff happens? Simply saying we don't agree with it is not going to stop this behavior.
Thank you, Ms. Rulis.
Hi, Christina Carinas, 27 Cherokee Court.
Hi, Ms. Greenis, how are you?
Thank you. So I'm here today to speak about the new sex ed curriculum standards that are currently being written, and I'm asking that the school reject these standards entirely, as did the New Jersey district in Garwood. I have 2 little girls. My youngest is 6 years old. She loves Barbies, jumping in puddles with her fanciest sneakers on, her friends, her family, gymnastics, and drawing. A fun fact about her is that she hasn't lost any of her baby teeth yet. Yet, according to the New Jersey sex standards, by the end of next year, you want my daughter to be able to identify body parts and use medically accurate names for her body parts, including her genitals. She should also be able to discuss a range of ways to show how people express their gender and understand that her gender doesn't always have to match the way she was physically born at 6 years old. My older daughter is 10. She loves her family, following the rules in horseback riding. She trains every day and dreams of being an Olympic equestrian. By the end of this year, she should be able to differentiate between her sexual orientation, her gender expression, and her gender identity at 10 years old. She should be able to explain human sexual development like romantic and sexual feelings and masturbation. One of the state's recommended video resources that comes along with this standard is a cartoon that illustrates and explains how many times is too many times to masturbate in one day for my 10-year-old. Are you uncomfortable yet? We should be. I didn't ask you guys, I asked them. These are direct quotes from the state standards on the Department of Education website, and I invite any parent listening to read them for themselves. It's not fear-mongering, it's on the state website. Please let my kids be kids. These standards are not age-appropriate, and I'm respectfully asking that you consider rejecting them entirely, like Gardwood did.
1 minute.
The opt-out is not enough. How can you make sure that students won't share information? I've been contacted by many parents who agree with what I'm saying, but they don't speak up due to a very small and very vocal group of parents and district teachers who label anyone who questions these standards as bigots and transphobes and homophobes. This group openly mocks choice folks who simply want the opportunity to say, I don't think it's appropriate for you guys to talk to my kids about that stuff. That's all I'm asking. We as parents deserve the right to say that these topics are not age appropriate for our babies. My daughter should be able to lose her first tooth before these topics are discussed with her. Please allow the community to have a voice in this. I'm asking you guys respectfully. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reese.
Good evening. My name is Brad Prohl. I'm on 14 Crows Lane in Sparta.
Yeah, Mr. Crow.
I, too, am talking about the sexual education curriculum that is currently being discussed within our district. Thank you very much for the responses that have thus been presented back to the parents that have been writing emails and calling, and the concerns that we've brought, so we thank you for that. But I do have some questions that I'd like to ask and have in preparation for the June meeting. What are the repercussions for the district if we do not accept these standards, right? It only loses a couple points from the CUSAC score, but no financial loss. How does the curriculum protect our students from an unbiased perspective as it relates to the state obscenity law, as it does not appear to be exempt for educational institutions or religious organizations? So I have some copies of that law, and I can either pass them out or you guys can all review it at all, but I would appreciate it if you look at that ahead of deciding this curriculum. With regards to the obscenity law as well, how do we protect our teachers and our educators? What if a student twists something that's discussed? What are the repercussions that can occur to a faculty member? Will the district also enact a policy that allows for parents to view all curriculum and talking points to be discussed with our children, in turn allowing us to remove our students for certain exemptions, like religious? And why can't the district just use the state standard of abstinence as the safest practice and not get into all the gory details that our kids don't need to hear about right now? Let the kids be kids. Why take away this, their innocence at such a young age? Bottom line is the district and the educators have no right or have no reason to change the curriculum from what it is today. The job of an educator is to
1
prepare
minute.
my child and every other child to be a productive member of society using the skills they learned in English, math, history, and science, not family life. That's my job as a parent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll. Anyone else for public comment number 2? Can I have a motion to close public comment number 2, please?
Motion.
Kim, thank you. Second?
Second.
Lauren, thank you. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on to section 23, for the good of the order. Do we have anything tonight? No? Okay, we're
Craig, I
gonna-
wanted to share just an honor from our, I'm just going to pull up the note, that our social studies department did receive from NCSS, the National Council for Social Studies, which is the preeminent organization supporting and guiding social studies and history introduction in the United States. And Mr. Kircher's and the department's inclusion on civic spaces is honored, so they will be presenting at the first in-person conference in December. So it's a great honor to our district. And I just wanted to echo the comments from Dr. Beck regarding the top 10. I thought it was a really great, excuse me, a really great night and a really great tradition for our Sparta students. And we're just so very proud of them and really all the accomplishments of our students. But it was really spectacular to witness the students giving their, just to be able to honor their educator and their educator to be able to receive such pride in hearing about how much their student has grown. So I really think it's a unique tradition that I'd love to see going forward.
Great, thanks, Lauren. Anything else? All right, we're going to move on to our closed session for the evening. Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, provides for the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the Sparta Township Board of Education is of the opinion that such circumstances exist to discuss personnel and matters of attorney-client privilege, which are exempt from public participation pursuant to New Jersey Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Sparta Board of Education shall enter into executive session on May 26th, today, at 8:34 p.m. We expect to be probably around an hour, so we'll say probably be back out around 9:45 just to be safe. And no action will be taken this evening. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, need a motion. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Patrick, thank you. Second?
Motion.
Kim, second. Yeah, Kim, thank you. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Lauren, can you see if he can pass out those, whatever?
Resolved that the Board of Education closes executive session and enters back into the public portion of the meeting at 10:19 PM. Can I have a motion for adjournment, please?
Motion.
Lauren, thank you. Second?
Second.
Vanessa, thank you. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so resolve that the Sparta Board of That's it? Oh, that's right, I don't need to do that. Nope, good, that's it. All right, thank you, everybody.